Coming up on Sports Night.
Baseball squares off with a pair of Midwestern foes looking to get back on track.
Men's basketball heads toward a major shakeup in the transfer portal.
And lacrosse stays hot as it inches back toward the top of the rankings.
Whoa, Miguel, you're back. Since when?
What do you mean, dude? I got here 2 weeks ago.
Really? I don't know, they told me Leo was on Destiny tonight.
All right, don't seem too disappointed, Michael.
All right, I won't be. Do you still remember how it goes?
Don't worry about it, I got it. Ready? It's Sports Night.
Right now. Welcome back to Sports Night. I'm Michael Capobianco, and next to me, making his long-awaited return from Argentina, Miguel Muñoz. How's it feel to be back?
I mean, Michael, I got to tell you, it's still surreal. I had such a great time in my JR in Buenos Aires, but to be honest with you, I never stopped thinking about Sports Night.
Oh, how romantic. All right, let's see if you're still rusty. Take it away.
Coach David Braun and his squad are 8 practices into their spring season, and the team is already feeling good thanks to a few new faces. Northwestern has not had a quarterback start consecutive season openers since 2018. With Michigan State transfer Aiden Childs now under center, the trend will continue into 2026. Having the chance to reconnect with quarterbacks coach Jerry Neuheisel and the vision David Braun showed him on his visit to Evanston sealed the deal for Childs to be a Wildcat.
Felt like a good fit for me, it's a Big Ten school again, also very good academically, so, can't go wrong there. It came down to the people, and the people here are amazing. I feel like I made the right choice for myself.
Aiden's doing super well, obviously. Super athletic guy, can throw the ball around the yard really well. And so it definitely seems like he's definitely starting to feel confident, go through everything he needs to go through, and it has been playing well this spring.
Quarterback change isn't the only thing changing Northwestern's offense. Braun brought in former NFL coach and national champion Chip Kelly as the team's new offensive coordinator. In his short stint in Evanston, he's already made an impression on his players on both sides of the ball.
It's different. It's different. It's a little more fast-paced. It's a lot on the quarterback, and you can't go wrong with that though. You want that. That's what you want. I chose this position. I wanted to be in this position.
Having Coach Kelly has been awesome. This spring has been great because we're seeing so much stuff that maybe we haven't usually seen in the Big Ten. All the different stuff he's incorporating, going against it, the looks we're getting. It's only going to make us so much better when it comes to season.
Childs and Kelly will both debut their revamped Wildcat offense when the season starts on September 5th against South Dakota State.
To baseball now, and history was made this week. Check this out. Former Wildcat pitcher Tyler Huberstein, who played for Northwestern in 2020 and 2021, entered rare territory by making his major league debut this week for the Boston Red Sox. He was called up at the start of last weekend and came in relief against the San Diego Padres on Sunday, tossing 2 2/3 innings at the historic Fenway Park. Huberstein's story is one of grit and perseverance. He was cut by his high school's varsity team as a junior. He enrolled at USC as a student, was cut by their club team, but as he honed his craft and boosted his velocity, he transferred to Northwestern, where he finally got the opportunity to play D1. Even in his professional career, he's powered through that adversity, missing all of 2023 to injury. He was sent back down to AAA this week, but he remains a viable option to return to the Red Sox bullpen this year. And Miguel, what a fantastic story for one of Northwestern's very own, making it to the big leagues.
I mean, Mikey, it's ridiculous. This kid was shorter than me in 11th grade, and now he's in the big leagues. What a story. I think this might be one of the greatest stories since Michael Jordan, cut from his varsity baseball team and now in the big leagues, never know.
That's a lot of pressure, but we're going to see. The Boston Red Sox not off to a great start, but this is a team that should very well be in the playoff hunt. We'll see if we'll get some Northwestern representation in October.
100% hope to see it. Speaking of Northwestern baseball, the Cats are looking to have as much success in Evanston as Uberstein has had over in Boston. After an underwhelming first month of the year, Northwestern baseball has made a marked effort to turn things around this past week. After a convincing 13-9 dub over Valparaiso last Tuesday, the Cats took to the diamond against in-conference foe Michigan State for a 3-game series. Game 1 of 3 between these two middle-of-the-pack Big Ten teams, which a pitcher's duel. Both Jake Reifenberg and Aiden Donovan were in the zone, stifling their respective opponents on Friday. Look at them go. It wasn't until the 6th that either team would break through, but Isaac Sturgis would do just that with a 2 RBI single off of Alex Grant. Took a while, but we finally got some action. Now later in the 8th, Ryan McKay follows suit and finds a left center gap for a 1-run double. Sparty takes game 1 5-1, and Michigan State was feeling pretty good after its second consecutive dub. Game 2, though, we will see was quite the barn burner. McKay picks up right where he left off the day previous and surges MSU in front with a base hit. 5-4 for the boys in green, and they'd ride in the driver's seat for quite a while. But just wait up. Here's the man of the hour, Owen McElpatrick. How about an Oppo Taco? Deficit cut to 1 for the Cats, knocking on the door of opportunity. Oh, wait. Never mind. Ryan Kucherak just took that same exact door, and look what he did. Took it off its hinges. We are even. McElpatrick back to the dish to win it, and the senior from Tampa comes through with a seeing eye single. Jack Council heading home, and he slides head first for the fun of it, and we've got a rubber match set for Sunday all of a sudden. And here it is, the story of the game, the lawn ball. Noah Ruiz drops an absolute nuke. Probably smoked a construction worker in the head, but that wasn't all. Kucherak found one as well. Jackson Freeman also homering in this one. 6 total extra base hits gave NU the 8-6 win and the series victory. After winning the Michigan State Series, Northwestern took a short drive into the city to play UIC, putting out the Flames 15-4 for its 4th win in 5 games. The Wildcats will now welcome back Purdue at Miller Park next for a 3-game series this weekend.
2 weeks ago, the Cats look to get back on track as they welcome the Michigan Wolverines to Rosemont. First game facing off, 3-game series at Rosemont. And here we go, jumping into the final pitch of Game 1 here. Marina Mason dishes her 116th pitch to the plate, seals the shutout for the Cats, and NU takes Game 1 4-0. Now heading over to Game 2, Cats are down in the bottom of the 3rd. Kansas Robinson shells one outside of the diamond for a 2-run home run. Cats clawing back in this one. And here at the top of the 6th, Cats down 3. Lily Valamount pings one to the Wildcats infield to attempt to close the inning on a double play. Robinson can't pick the ball. Michigan scores and takes Game 2 9-5. And on to Game 3, a matinee. Robinson flies out to center but does enough. Kaylee Avasado tags and score. Cats with the early 1-0 lead. Cats continue to patch together runs early on, building a 7-0 lead. And late in the bottom of the 2nd, Avasado singles to left. Field driving in 2 runners. Cats 9-0, big lead. However, the tides begin to turn in the top of the 3rd when Janissa Conway nukes Mason's pitch for a 3-run homer to deep right field. Wolverines not going down early. Just an inning later, Command C, Command V, Lauren Putz goes yard, adding another 3 runs for the Wolverines, and all of a sudden, we've got a tight game here, 9-6. Moving along in the top of the 7th, 9 apiece, Janelle Elakwa makes weak contact, but gets her teammate enough time to get home, completing the comeback for the Blue. Michigan snatches Game 3 from the Cats, 11-9. After coming back home from a 3-game sweep of Illinois down in Urbana-Champaign, Northwestern softball returned back to more familiar grounds as April rolled around. On DePaul soil, the Northwestern women's softball team extended their losing streak to 3 after falling 5-9 to the Blue Demons. The Wildcats were the first to strike, hitting a homer to get on the board in the 2nd. However, the relentless scoring barrage in DePaul's 3rd and 6th innings, scoring 6 and 3 respectively, proved too much to claw back from. Shortstop senior Bridget Donahue contributed a team-high 2 runs through 2 of her home runs, where she hit 1 at the top of the 6th in the Cats' attempted comeback. Northwestern women's softball seek to balance out at 500 in an upcoming road trip this weekend, where they'll face a hot Penn State team holding a 3-game win streak.
Wait up. When we come back, we've got some analysis on where NU men's basketball stands in this year's Transfer Portal Madness.
My relationship with Giannis is unique. We're from the same country, we're from the same city. Being a Northwestern alum, I think, has tremendous advantages in the sports industry. To me, that community, it's been with me for 20 plus years.
Ready, set, go! Welcome back to Sports Night. There's been a lot of news the past week as the transfer portal has opened up. Over 1,000 players all across the country will find new teams this offseason. Joining me on our desk is our very own Gabi Egozi to tell us more. Gabi, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Of course. So I'll start by asking you this. Out of the 8 players, and that's a lot from Northwestern, who have entered the transfer portal, who do you see as the biggest loss for the program, and what should Collins prioritize when he's trying to replace that impact?
Yeah, definitely, Mikey. Now, this week has been very busy for Northwestern, to say the least. Out of those 8 players, I'm really looking at Trey Singleton to start things off for Northwestern. Biggest loss for Chris Collins and company. He started 31 out of 34 games. You're missing rim protection and offensive production. He averaged roughly 7.6 points per game, averaging almost 5 rebounds per game as well. And he was really the long-term foundational piece for this Wildcat squad. So missing him is obviously going to lose a lot of the future that Chris Collins was really trying to build alongside Jake West and others that he lost recently this week, including Tyler Kropp. So somebody to definitely look to, and somebody that Chris Collins is going to have to look to replace as well. And then 2 others in addition to Singleton would have to be Arrington Page and Tyler Kropp, who I mentioned before. Page, obviously a huge presence for Northwestern as a center for them. He's a big man who could really grab the boards. Obviously somebody who, had an up and down season for the Wildcats, but someone who really put it together when it really mattered most. So definitely some players that Chris Collins is going to have to look to replace in that transfer portal.
For sure, big task ahead for Collins, and yeah, that's a lot of talent leaving Evanston. But shifting gears to the 4 players returning from last season, who do you think stands out as a potential leader to step up and take charge for the Wildcats as, they search for a new direction, especially in the absence of Nick Marnelli?
Yeah, now Northwestern's only left with 4 returning players right now. If they decide to return, and looking at those 4, I'm going to really have to go with Jake West. He was their freshman point guard last season, really had a lot of step up in that Big Ten tournament, an 18-point performance against Indiana in the Big Ten tournament. He averaged 5.3 points per game and almost 3 assists, so definitely a big ball handler there when the moments mattered most, and a big piece of Chris Collins' future if he looks to continue to build that young core. And then alongside Jake West, Angelo Chiaravino, if he decides to stay here at Northwestern, he will be the oldest player in Chris Collins' system that has stayed here for the past now 2 years, going into his 3rd year. He's obviously had his big moments. He averaged over 10 points per game in a little bit of a stretch in November, so somebody who can produce offensively when it matters most.
Yeah, absolutely. And big changes all around, not too much continuity. But now looking ahead, this is a pivotal process now for Chris Collins to get guys in the transfer portal and rebuild this roster. In your opinion, what type of players and specific targets do you think the Wildcats should prioritize, this time around in the transfer portal?
Yeah, I'm actually very excited to discuss this one because a lot of the players that I'm really looking at here have ties to Northwestern or to Illinois. So to kick things off, Rowan Brombaugh from Tulane. He's the transfer from Tulane, actually committed to Northwestern back in August of 2021, then decommitted a few months later in December. He averaged 19.2 points per game and 5 rebounds per game with Tulane last season. He was a 4-star recruit coming out of high school, and he was at the time one of the highest rated prospects that Northwestern was seeking and almost got here to join them. So definitely a big prospect to look for to replace Martinelli's offensive production. He averaged 23 points per game last season, and he'll be somebody who will be huge for the Wildcats if they can land them. Alongside him, Jake Fegan from Cornell. He's the guard from Wilmette. Obviously somebody who could be looking to go to Northwestern, be closer to home, right next door. Fegan is down to 4 schools, Northwestern, Vanderbilt, Villanova, and Virginia. And he averaged 17.1 points 6.1 points per game with Cornell. So obviously a sharp shooter who can produce for the Wildcats. Alongside him, Ethan Roberts at UPenn. He averaged nearly 17 points per game for the past 2 seasons with UPenn, led them to that magical run last season to their first round loss in the NCAA tournament. So definitely a lot of prospects out there for Chris Collins and company, and it will be a busy next few months, to say the least.
Yeah, a lot of names on the board, a lot of stiff competition, but we'll see if any of these guys that you mentioned become Cats next year. We'll be on desk talking about them maybe in a year from now. But thank you so much. I appreciate your insight. And yeah, a pivotal, potentially program-defining month really for Chris Collins and this men's basketball program. Miguel, kicking it to you.
Thanks, Michael. With expectations sky high, Northwestern lacrosse was uncharacteristically human in the early going, dropping 3 of its first 10 matches. But after 2 straight top 10 wins, it's safe to say they're back. Northwestern lacrosse faced off against the USC Trojans at home on Sunday for Lacrosse Day out in Chicago. The Cats would start on the right foot as Maddie Taylor finds Kate Radapernoska streaking into the 8-meter arc for the first goal of the game. The goal was also her 3rd of the season. Northwestern goes up early on a 4-0 run thanks to the very own Maddie Taylor, here scoring her 300th goal off a free position. She's now the 2nd player in program history to ever reach that mark. What achievement for her. Opening the second quarter now, the Cats struggle with their shot selection. Olivia Adamson fires wide and recovers only for Maddie Taylor to take her chance and meet the same exact fate. The Trojans would then capitalize just a few minutes later in the second quarter. Northwestern still leaves the half up 6-1 though, so in a good position for the Cats. Northwestern's offensive troubles continue into the second half. Annabelle Child fires off a shot that clinks just off the pipe and goes into the corner, but the Cats would eventually capitalize. Taylor Lapointe finding Taylor again for a quick release. This Taylor-Taylor connection is part of a 3-goal deluge by the Wildcats. Look at them go. The Trojans would try to claw their way back into the game here off a quick-fire rebound from Kaylee Fravert, and though USC would manage to outscore Northwestern 3-2 in the 4th, it is Maddie Taylor who has the last word as she sprints towards the crease and slots one in. And Northwestern would run the clock right out to finish the game 11-5 and improve its record to 9-3 on the season. The Wildcats have another big test on their hands, facing off against top-ranked Maryland in College Park right now.
Hold on, don't go anywhere just yet.
We've still got golf, tennis, and more on the docket when we come back.
Trying to work my way out of the prison system was the most difficult challenge of my life. It only became tangible once I became a Northwestern student.
One, two, three, four.
My relationship with Giannis is unique. We're from the same country, we're from the same city. Being a Northwestern alum, I think, has tremendous advantages in the sports industry. To me, that community, it's been with me for 20 plus years.
Welcome back into Sports Night. So, Michael, I gotta ask you, have you seen this Artemis 2 moon mission thing? I mean, I can't believe we're going back to the moon.
It's pretty sweet stuff, but hey, NASA might have to look out for some golf balls.
Because Northwestern has been hitting them out of orbit. Men's golf traveled to Augusta, Georgia to compete in the Augusta Haskins Award Invitational. After 3 rounds, the men finished 12th out of the 16 teams competing. Although it was USC that took home the titles in both the team and individual competitions, the Cats showed promise as they shot 5 under par in round 1, 3 under par in round 2, and a team best 8 under par in round 3. The Cats were led once again by Daniel Svard, who shot a 69 in round 1, 68 in round 2, and 70 in round 3, good enough for a 14th place finish in the individual rankings. Following him was Mark Gazi, who shot equal to his season best 69 in the final round as he finished even overall. The Wildcats are headed to Bloomington, Indiana next to compete in their final regular season match of the year before the rapidly approaching postseason.
Over the weekend, Northwestern women's tennis faced a terrific test. The Wildcats met with 2 matchups against a mishmash of ranked Mitten-State squads. First on deck, the number 75 Michigan State Spartans, Erica Jessel and Margot Fentola, got the Cats off to a quick start with a 6-3 win in doubles. After Autumn Rabjans and Mika Dagan-Fruchtiman won their doubles match 6-4, Northwestern pilfered the pioneer point of the afternoon. Jessel and Marilee Rath opened the singles stage with sweeps. Dagan-Fruchtman's sweep in the 4th singles match clinched a 4-1 victory for Northwestern. Sunday saw a much severer struggle for the Cats against number 17 Michigan. Nina Feldman and Rath took their doubles match, and Dagan-Fruchtman and Rabjans quickly followed suit. But that would be the last point of the afternoon for Northwestern. Thanks to a pair of ranked singles players, the Wolverines swept all 4 finished fights in the singles department and won the match 4-1. And the road only gets rougher for the Wildcats. They're welcoming a pair of primetime LA squads to Evanston this weekend. 10th ranked USC on Friday will be followed by number 16 UCLA on Sunday afternoon.
Northwestern swept 2 Indiana opponents on senior weekend, shutting out Purdue 4-0 on Friday before outlasting number 62 Indiana 4-3 on Sunday. Junior Cyrus Majub clinched both matches for the Wildcats, first with a 6-4, 6-3 win against Purdue, then by erasing a 1-set deficit against Indiana to win 1-6, 6-4, 6-3. Against Indiana, the Wildcats stole the doubles point after dropping their first match. Majub and Ethan Schiffman saved 3 match points at number 1 to win the tiebreak 8-6, and Grayson Casey and Chad Miller won the tiebreak 7-3 at number 3. Schiffman put Northwestern up 2-0 with a 7-5, 6-1 win at number 3 singles, but Indiana would win 3 straight matches at 6-4 and 5 to take 3-2 lead. Casey evened the score at number 2, winning 2 tiebreaks 7-4 and 7-3. That set put Majub up to clinch at number 1, completing the full comeback. Northwestern moved to 15-10 overall and 3-7 in the Big Ten for its first undefeated conference weekend of the entire season. The Wildcats next head west to face off number 26 USC, followed by number 22 UCLA.
And here's how you can catch the Cats this weekend.
First up on the slate, coming on Friday, women's tennis taking on number 10 USC on Friday afternoon.
Don't miss 1 p.m. Saturday on the Diamond, baseball hosting Purdue.
And last but not least, Sunday morning, lacrosse taking on number 18 Penn State.
All right, we're done, dude. Finally out of here.
No, what do you mean? We still have to watch the Greek Freak Agents commercial.
I'm Kelly McEvers, founding host of the NPR podcast Embedded.
I'm James Edwards, host of the Unresolved podcast from Frontline.
I'm Antonia Cereijido, former senior producer of Anything for Selena podcast and current executive producer at Elias Studios.
My narrative, since I've been locked up and kind of made my transition, has been like redemption, accountability.
When I come into the classroom environment, every individual that sits amongst me takes education seriously.
My relationship with Giannis is unique. We're from the same country, we're from the same city. Being a Northwestern alum, I think, has tremendous advantages in the sports industry. To me, that community, it's been with me for 20 plus years.
Welcome back to the last block of Sports Night. Hope you all enjoyed our commercial break. And Miguel, they really picked two guys with some similar names tonight to be on desk.
I know, right? I mean, this might be the best Mike and Mike duo since we got Greeny and Golick.
Whew, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We still got plays of the week to do.
That's right. It's time for plays of the week, and boy, this one was a doozy.
At number 3, Cats taking on the Trojans in Evanston. The ball finds Maddie Taylor, senior attacker, gets right in front of the goal, and she is unstoppable from that range. Northwestern beats USC 11-5.
Now at number 2, bases loaded at the bottom of the 5th, and Bridget Donahue crunches this pitch down the line. Donahue gets all 3 Cats home. Northwestern softball goes on to win Saturday evening against the Wolverines 4-0.
And the top moment from Northwestern sports this week, no one else. Owen McElpatrick whacks it right down the middle. Jack Council finds his way from second base all the way to home plate, and Northwestern gets the walk-off run to even the series against Michigan State. Cats beat the Spartans 2-1 in the series. That'll be all from our desk tonight. Miguel, it was a blast being back on desk with you.
I couldn't agree more, Michael. If you'd like to see more of us, you can follow us on X at NNN Sports and on Instagram at NNN_sports. For Michael Capobianco, I'm Miguel Muñoz. Huge thank you to everyone who made this show possible. A shout out to Sammy Crimstein, happy belated birthday. And to all of you guys for tuning in, have a wonderful night.